What up, you guys? Welcome back to another HOTC podcast, and she is your host,
Q.
and I'm Flo, and we want to do a movie review today. And we watched Not Easily Broken, which is entitled from, what's his name? T.D. Jakes. He wrote this book, so the movie came to fruition, starring Taraji P. Henson and Morris Chestnut. Mm-hmm. And it's about Dave and Clarice Johnson, young couple, got married, and they got transitioned through life. What was that supposed to say?
They were navigating life's transition.
There you go, navigating life's transitions. So, take it away.
Away we go. So actually, I don't remember how it came up, but Flo was asking about the movie for whatever reason. And I was like, yeah, I think I saw it. It was about a guy and his son died. And he's like, no. So then we watched the movie because I obviously didn't know what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. And we had, what was it, like a 2-hour movie, something like that. Our viewing of it ended up being like 3 hours because we kept having to pause because we were having conversation. We're like, you know what? Let's talk to the people about this too.
Yes.
So they were young, married, and the idea was that he was going to become a great basketball player.
No, baseball. Guess we gotta watch it again.
Oh no, they were playing basketball with all the friends. Okay,
yes.
See, hey. Playing basketball with the friends, but baseball player because that's what he coached.
That's what he played, and you wanted to be a professional.
Yeah, right. I was saying, but that's who he was coaching the kids.
Yes, he was coaching
see?
the kids.
We don't have
You're
that
going
part, right?
so forward and jumping back, but I got you.
It's really not that confusing. But okay, so anyway, see now I lost my train of thought. He was injured. Yes, he was injured, and so their dreams kind of took a turn, and then they had to navigate through that. And so, what's it? Clarice?
Yeah, Clarice
is the wife. So her ambition never ceased, and she was able to become like a top
real estate agent.
There you go. Me and that word, we don't get along very well. So she was one of the tops in her company. I assume it's a company, and
firm.
She just had that, what do you call it? She had that, that stereotypical idea of a woman who does very well for themselves, and they kind of hold it over whoever they're with, which I do not personally like.
She was a breadwinner.
Well, yes, but you don't have to hold it over people. Like when she was talking to him, they were in I think they were in the kitchen or like the dining area of their house, and I don't know, she was talking and she was saying something about like his truck, and then she said something and she's like about to leave, and so she like winds up and then smacks his butt like really hard and then walks out, and he's just like, oh, she was making fun of his stomach.
Yeah, stomach. I'm putting on some weight there.
Yeah, and so he, what's his name? Dave. Mm-hmm. Dave, he's like, what, really? And she like does that and walks out, and it's like, normally you would see that type of dynamic in reverse, or it would be like the wife kind of who's at home and it's like, wait, and gets the bum smack, and so it's just kind of interesting. I mean, I think some people might have seen that, or if they had experienced it, they would think it was a bit de-emasculating.
Emasculating?
Yeah. Jesus, I told you. I am not myself right now.
But yeah, so just, I think, her drive outweighed her individual drive outweighed the growth of the marriage, because she was going for money, successful. I'm the breadwinner. But at the same time, that may be true, as he himself, Dave, was developing his own. Now I don't remember the name of the company. Who's the electrician? Mechanic? Something. Engineer? Something in there.
It was, no.
Something with construction and contracting.
That's the one. Yes.
He was starting that business. And I think even though she she is the breadwinner, she's so focused on having the materialistic things so that way they weigh each other, not realizing Dave has I guess, more of it has to make sense type of mentality when it comes to money. Because just because you're a number one top firm, you're being recognized, doesn't mean your lifestyle has to match that. Because in actuality, that may not even be possible.
Right.
Just because you're number one in your thing and you're getting X amount of dollars doesn't mean you spend the X amount of dollars that you earn so it matches. Because otherwise, you find yourself in a hole.
Right.
So he was more like, I like my truck. It gets from point A to point B. I don't need to have this whole fancy truck,
right, or
make it seem like I'm this top guy. No, it doesn't matter. What matters is
my work,
and the effort that I put in there, and the results that come out, effective and efficient.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one part of the thing, one aspect of something they have to transition and grow for her, from that mentality.
The idea of how much money they would have had he not been injured, as opposed to what they have or actually have now.
Exactly. Because like you said, she was driving force. Oh, we're still going to be half this big extravagant. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make sure I'm number one over here, and we can still do it. And it's just like, that baseball money is long. We talking about you being a real estate agent. Unless you up there, $1 million listing, is not as long as people.
Long?
Yeah, the money isn't long. You ain't got that many commas and zeros.
Oh, okay. I was like, money isn't long. That big.
Oh my gosh, you talking about the bill itself?
Hey.
Jeez. But yeah, I think that was one. That was probably one of the first things I recognized in the movie was that the money, the financial aspect, and them not being on the same page.
Really?
And that's going to cause a problem later on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then, you have that. You have the finances, which is one of the big three, right? Mm-hmm. For divorce. So you have finances, and then you have the different ideas about starting a family.
Oh, yeah.
So, he coaches the baseball team, the young boys.
Yeah, the city baseball team.
And, he's extremely devoted.
Mm-hmm.
And partly, I'm sure, because he does not have his own child to be spending that time with. So,
And he knows his past.
Right. And so it's it's an outlet. For some of them, it would seem like throughout the movie, it would seem like a
keep them out of trouble.
Yeah, a safe environment for them. And then she just doesn't understand. Like, sometimes it's like she just not like
them
the kids,
thugs, them hoodlums.
Yeah, like it was just. I was like, my gosh,
soulless, soulless. But I think they never left. They obviously never left because of his injury. So they stayed in their hometown, if you will.
Right.
Because you did have his teammate or high school buddy or brother or whatever that was still in the movie, wondering why he's in his situation and trying to find and pinpoint and blame that it's got to be them or this or that reason, because it wasn't me. I should have gotten a college scholarship and went pro and all this stuff. So they obviously stayed in their hometown. I think that was another driving force for him to know that someone that he grew up with turned that way, and coaching is an outlet to help mature boys into manhood through sports and showing them how to be a team player and camaraderie and just seeing people for who they are and what they can contribute to the team. Mm-hmm. Like he said, what did he say? He said, Brother King said, what race?
Oh, yeah.
We're the human race.
Yeah, human race.
Uh-huh.
That was hilarious. I didn't say Dr. King.
I didn't say Dr. King.
The barber guy or something.
Yeah,
the street.
down the street.
Mr. King.
It's human race. But he's white, though. No. So I think that's probably was his driving force too, along with his aspiration for wanting to have a kid of his own. And she was more so like, no, we're trying to take it to the next level, get a bigger house, and I want my Escalade and all of this stuff.
It would be an inconvenience, especially thinking financially. It would be an inconvenience at that time. So let's get to the nitty gritty.
The nitty gritty?
Yes.
You talking about the 3-strand?
No, I was talking about the mom. I don't remember her name in the movie. The mom's name.
I don't know.
Clarice's mom, Miss Jennifer Lewis.
I know. Just Miss J. Lewis. Miss J. Lewis.
Little girl. I'm sorry. That's just iconic. But
you gotta explain the scene. You can't just say little girl.
No, I can't. I can't just say little girl because we haven't introduced everything as to how she even gets into the picture. I mean, obviously she is the mother-in-law, so she's part of the family. But the way it's portrayed, she's part of the marriage too. She's not just part of the family; she's part of the marriage. There's a scene where he says something to the effect of, your mother's always had an equal share in this marriage. So, so instead of it being my side and your side, it's my side, your side, her side.
Which ends up being their side and him alone.
Exactly. But yeah,
well,
so.
Let's set it up then.
Go ahead.
All
since
right.
you want to interrupt.
So he had extra fun, extended time. He was with the boys, and they went overtime because they introduced did they introduce a new player to the team?
No. That's when he was playing basketball.
Why was he late? Well, either way, either basketball with the fellas or he was coaching and it went longer than it was supposed to. And they need to get there on time for her big grand celebration to show to everyone that's going to be at this celebration that she's #1 real estate agent at her firm. Mm-hmm. He shows up late. He comes in. I'm sorry. Just give me 5 minutes. And she just going off, selfish and them boys and all of this and all of that. So they get in the car. This is my #1 thing. Don't drive angry, because then you got your foot on the pedal. You're frustrated. Your eyes are moving quicker than your brain can grasp what's happening. Get distracted, arguing back and forth, speeding. And so they're arguing back and forth, and someone T-boned them. They ran the red light.
May I just say that not everybody is unable to drive effectively whilst angry. Not everybody is subject to the inability to still pay attention to the road and the rules of the road when they are driving.
Which is why when she's in a mood, I drive. Because you speed.
I speed regardless.
Exactly. So you angry?
It's still the same thing.
We might as well be on a rocket ship.
No, it's
or as
still,
I say, on a ferry rocket ship.
It's still the same thing. I have liberal limits when it comes to the speed limit.
No, your foot is the thing or the Hulk. You just
never.
Kids back there.
Never.
Mommy, cute.
Never.
Lips all.
You're over exaggerating.
With the windows down.
I speed, or it's considered speeding because it is above the speed limit.
Exactly.
But
105.
I am not going that fast.
You know you're going 99. Oh, I didn't even know.
No. That's not how it went.
It didn't. But anyway.
No, not
so
anyway.
they got T-boned.
And it was the other person's fault, right?
It was the other person's fault because
they
ran the red light.
Okay.
So they rush him to the hospital. He's in a frantic, of course. And who does he call? The people that he associates with on a daily basis, because that's where your mind triggers. So he called his homeboys up. They were there, and doctor came out, pretty much said if she doesn't get focused and go hard with her therapy, she may never, be able to walk again.
Right. So
And then
he called his guy
I already
friends
said that.
first, and then called his mother-in-law, her mother. So his guy friends are already there, and
Been
then
there.
yeah, doctor comes out like Flo was saying, and then after the doctor leaves, mom comes into the scene, and she's frantic, just half crying, half ready, doesn't know what to do, where to go, asking questions and then answering questions and then asking more questions. And so as he's trying to explain, she asks, of course, what happened. And he's trying to explain, like, I don't even know. Don't you? Because she already told me that you were late. And then at that moment, you see, like, wow, this is quite a dynamic.
This is your fault, Dave. Over there with them boys, you
Yes.
ain't been rushing.
Yeah.
When
so
they clearly had a green and someone ran the red.
exactly. Don't know how that is his fault. But anyways, so that scene goes, and then it's okay. It's time to go home.
Mm-hmm.
My gosh. So they get home, and
They didn't get home. They got in the porch way.
They got home, and his mother-in-law answers the door. Like, not that he knocked or rang the doorbell for anyone's assistant, but she was at the door to greet them and was like, I moved in.
About time.
So that was the first time we paused.
Yeah, because the brother was like, he's holding the wheelchair like.
Yeah, she says she moved in, and then he's like, you don't have to be here. I can take care of my wife if you could. What did he say? What'd she say? If you
were able to take care of her, then there would be no reason for me to be here. Now would there?
There was no reason because nobody invited you. But anyways.
Ain't that right, Mama? I was like, oh, and the wife is.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So there's normally, like, when you have steps going up to your house, there's sometimes a lip between where the flooring of your inside house and then the outside step is
Patio.
at. Yeah, and so he has to pull the wheelchair over that.
Mm-hmm.
So he does.
He does with a little bit of anger.
He does it fast, which I understand. It's like, oh, okay, let's get this in.
No, I think he did it because he was mad because Mama at the door.
Yeah, but like I said, he did it fast, but it wasn't like he moved her, hit her leg, threw it down. Like, it was just a quick bump. I understand.
You're trying to break my other leg.
I understand her reaction of surprise, like, oh my gosh. But oh my God, my leg! And then the mom is going, and see, that's why I'm here. Seriously?
Trying to break my other leg. Yeah.
There is no way on this earth, in any situation or circumstance, that anybody is going to tell me that they have moved into my house, or currently apartment. It would never, because my immediate response would be, and I just kicked you out. So, yeah.
And this is where we differ, because for me it would be acceptable because parent got sick or something like, then that would be the case. But that's an outlier.
That's different.
That's the outlier.
Because you and I would have a conversation about that person. It wouldn't be that person's like, I'm sick, so I moved in. No, you didn't.
Oh, well, yeah.
No, you didn't.
I'm just saying that would be the exception as to where a parent would move in to the house for us. They got sick, accident,
we're going to be helping. Yeah. So that makes sense. But in this situation, this situation would never happen. No, I'm not going to say the situation would never happen. The situation might happen. It just would not be allowed to continue. It would be stopped right there.
It's like, oh, how long you been here? Oh, a couple hours. Well, I hope you enjoyed house sitting. See you when we call you.
Yeah, no. So that was our first pause, and we had a whole conversation. At that point, I just could not get out of my head, like,
I wish you.
I sure did.
Just like, wish what?
Like,
wish we get a 2-story house? Why would I?
seriously, because yes, as much as I love his parents,
My niece.
I'm not gonna put up with that in my house. I'm just not.
No.
I'm just not. So
You all right?
Yeah. So that was the first thing, and then what else? What else happened?
It was more so him chatting it up with his boys, and then, you know, this is a great physical therapist. You might want to send her, you know, to your house and see what, you know, she can do to help the situation. So he invites her in to the house, and she's going to be an at-home physical therapist.
Right.
And that's pretty much the most important part, is the introduction of yet another woman in this marriage, because you already got the mama included, you got the wife and the husband. Now here comes another woman into this that's going to be there to help her get her leg together.
Which she does an amazing
Yeah.
job as a physical therapist.
Yeah.
You know, she's walking, she's just doing great work with her, and the results are awesome. And so for Clarice's character, and I think it's Julie, who's the name of the character for the physical therapist.
Yeah.
You know, she's, you know, they have a good rapport, as most people do when they
After
have
time, because in
right.
the beginning,
yeah, in the beginning she had a terrible attitude.
Yeah, she was super low.
But that was because she was
The mama
like,
had to
depressed.
correct her. The husband,
He
the one
tried
that
to,
brought
but
the help,
didn't.
she didn't want to doing all that. And the physical therapist was like, what? Really?
Yeah.
And the mama,
But-
you gonna get your act together.
But yeah, so they, in the end of it all, they, you know, good rapport, good relationship. And through that, who is it? The physical therapist, Julie, has a son who swims,
Yeah, swim.
like Olympic training swimming, or junior Olympics, because
Yeah.
his age.
Yeah.
And so Dave goes and sees one of his like swim practices or swim meets.
No, before that, you have to explain little girl.
I don't have to explain
You
that.
gotta explain that because you thought it was so hilarious.
Because it is hilarious.
Share it with the people, because that goes in line as to how the boy comes into play.
Okay, so she's getting ready to leave their house after a physical therapy session, and her car stops working. And so the mom voluntold Dave to take her because she has to go pick up her
But he
son.
wasn't having it because he gotta go hoop. He had
Yeah.
his hoop stuff.
Yeah, and so they're like,
He needed to relieve his stress.
those guys, like, you can put that off after she basically just saved your wife's life. So he's like, yeah, okay, I can take you. So then they go to get her son, and then he has a number for a mechanic who can get, you know, look at the car or whatnot. And so that's how he's initially introduced to her son, finds out that he swims, and then
that he has a baseball team, and that if he wants to come, he could try it out. He's like, oh, I've always wanted to try baseball.
Right. So he does go to one of the baseball practices, and then, you know, he needed a little bit of coaching so that he could actually hit the ball. But then he got it, and then all the kids were and they were all cool.
You hit it
after
further
that.
than me.
Right, and then Dave goes and sees his swim meet. I assume it's called meet. I think in my mind that makes more sense.
Goes to
The kids swim
Oh,
meet.
yes. So he's getting closer to the kid that swims because he coaches him, and the kid wants him to be there for
The
his
swim
swim meets. He wants his coach there, you know. But during all of that, you have the difficulty in the marriage because you have
Added stress with the mom.
Mama's there, and they're already somewhat disconnected. Because he's trying to be intimate, show affection, show love. She's dismissive with that often, and more so focused on getting to the money. And so there's that distance in their relationship, and you compile the accident and the resentment because it's his fault, because mama said it's his fault.
Right.
And then look at him answering the phone outside. When has he ever had to do that before?
I was going to say that.
So she's feeding.
I was going to say that his invite to the swim meet was over the phone, but in order to answer it, he went outside of the house. So they didn't hear because they were watching something.
a movie, old school
and of course, the mom, she I don't know. She heard him breathe, so she starts looking around, sees that he's outside, and then brings it up because the Clarice, she wasn't any wiser. She was watching whatever TV show it was that she didn't want to watch in the first place, and so then that that kind of sparks something. It puts the negativity into her, a negative thought in her brain or seed into her brain, then it becomes a problem. And so now she's like.
Yeah.
I think at one point,
because of the mom. She planted them seeds.
I think at one point she looks through his phone and sees the text message between them or something like that.
I don't remember
about
that.
this. Yeah, because she saw Kevin Hart's character, Trey.
Kevin Hart's character.
Yeah, Kevin Hart's character.
Trey.
They had been texting, which he has a funny. His character is very emotional, but funny. But yeah, so and then before that, it's Julie. So you see them two, and then so now on top of the two of them already having problems because of differences in how finances should be utilized, and then it's your fault that I had this problem because you were late and didn't put me first. Now you have the mom in there creating discord because he's just he's acting just like X, Y, and Z.
And she blew up on him in the kitchen about not having any money, which because she wanted to be so we got it. Here's our card, and he was trying to signal we ain't got it because you ain't been working.
Right.
So it's been all my money stretched thin because you have this, we got to live up here.
Right.
And I'm building a business. So the bills are here and my building business is here. So obviously there's a gap. So we need to go to the credit cards because there's no room to save, because every time you number one, you add something, you add on to our financial responsibilities.
Right. So because she hadn't been working, instead of having both the incomes, it's only his income, which is less than hers, and hers is kind of basically making it allowable for them to live in the lifestyle with which she has planted them into. So he's like, and she's like, we're fine, we got it, and he was sweating bullets oh gosh, because they were at a lunch, a luncheon with some high
developers,
clients for her. She's trying to get, and
they want his advice because I can't remember what he does, and he's just trying to and so what I would do
he does I think that's what they're called. They're called contractors. He remodels and does buildings, and I mean it was
I'm tired of saying it. I need to know.
It was a plan that was larger than what he's done before.
Yeah.
But I mean, he has done some, and she's trying to make it seem like he's just one of the greatest. And he's done everything. And he's like
very lucrative.
Yeah. He's like, are we talking about me or are we talking about somebody else? So she's really trying to maintain this appearance that really isn't necessarily true, and then so she becomes embarrassed, but then of course it's all his fault, and so they have on top of everything else, they have a disagreement about you embarrassed me in front of my client. No, you embarrassed yourself by not listening to him, by not thinking about the fact that, as you've already stated, without your job you guys wouldn't be making the bills. So since you haven't been working, hello. So
you got negative seed, you got financial issues, you got intimacy issues, and then you have Dave becoming more connected to the son and Julie because there isn't any stress there.
Right. There's no
more-
expectation
there's no
of
expectation.
being more than what you are or want to be.
Yeah, there's no down talking. There's no anything. There's no distance.
There's no mother-in-law.
And so that creates a problem.
So basically, he has an emotional affair.
Emotional connection. And Clarice finds out, and she's distraught. She's like, it's worse because it isn't physical, it's emotional.
Yeah, she's stolen my husband's heart. I mean,
Stealing.
you kind of gave it to her with
Created
the way
the
you're
environment.
talking.
Yeah. Created the environment.
Yeah, so what was it? What there was something we were gonna bring up. Something.
Talking about the three?
Oh yes.
The 3 chords?
Yes, the chords. Which that's hilarious because they go to
They go to the
counseling.
pastor because she wants it, because she wants to, make it right. And he's more like, I'm tired because this is how many years in?
Right.
We can only guess and probably say like 10 years in after the injury and stuff. So 10 years of you feeling this, and obviously the mother is comfortable enough to say and do and speak this way. So that means you've
Invite
been
herself to live in
dealing
your
with
house.
this for an extended amount of time, and there's just no love and affection.
Right. So
Where's my affection?
they go to the pastor, and so they do show this part in the beginning with their wedding ceremony, how there's a 3-strand cord. So they each represent one, and then God is the third cord. And without God to, keep them all together, then it'll fall apart. So I think that message is self-explanatory. So they go and see the pastor, and the pastor's asking questions, and Clarice is saying her stuff, and then when it's Dave, I keep wanting to call him David.
No, Dave.
When it's his turn to speak, he gives short answers, kind of like, I'm done with this. And then she goes off, like she's cool and calm. And this one, and she, are you sure? And all, just everything. And the pastor's like, calm down, stop. So I thought that was hilarious because he was like, basically, it looked like he wanted to tell her to shut up, but he didn't. He was much more respectful than that.
Yeah.
But so he had her stop. He spoke just to Dave. I mean, she was there, but he was speaking directly to him and was just asking, like, how are you feeling about everything that's going on? And then he was honest, and in his honesty, his wife heard nothing. She heard nothing.
What did he say?
I don't know what he said word for word, but he basically said that he didn't feel like a man. Like,
he wasn't feeling seen, heard, valued.
All of those things. And then the conversation, or the conversation about a child came up again, and he's like, I want, and she doesn't, and she's like, well, it would just get in the way right now. And so so it wasn't on her to-do list, but it doesn't matter how it affects him because it wasn't on her to-do list. So basically she was being selfish and self-centered, because as I said, as he's expressing himself, just being open and just honest, she's like, but this though, this is what we need to do. You need to get on my page, and that's not how things work. And
I want my Escalade.
Yeah. I don't know why the Escalade is so important, but they're getting one.
You gotta look the part. To be broke?
Right. So
stop stunting.
Unfortunately, there is a loss. Julie's son.
He's it's tragic because it's foreshadowing in the movie about him training with his coach, and his coach is like, yes, make sure you count when you're getting to, or
count your strokes.
Count your strokes as you're getting to the wall.
Swimming.
So he's like, oh yeah, sorry coach. He's like, yes, you see this? And he has a scar, because he didn't count his strokes and injured himself. So I think this is the moment of truth, junior Olympic trial thing.
Yeah.
And he goes out there and he kills it, but he didn't remember to count his stroke. And so he ends up having to get rushed to the hospital.
Yeah.
he fortunately loses his life. You have Dave coming in. You have one of Dave's buddies coming too, and the swimming coach there. And they see the blinds closed. So the child is lost. Dave, because of that emotional connection and distance from his wife, he steps up and starts taking care of things.
Well,
the
him
funeral.
and the friend help and take care of the funeral.
Yeah,
arrangement. They did.
The friend had ulterior motives.
Well, of course.
In the beginning.
Yeah, but right at that point, it was all to help, and so they did. But then he does pay her, and after, like, it's been a while, and she's not answering anybody's calls.
And he's at the whole motel chilling because he can't. He's like, I'm gone
at the house. Yeah.
What was this? I forgot what. That's what it was. The mama goes straight disrespectful talking to him, and you gonna sit there and let your mama talk to me like that? And so he just dipped, and that's how he ended up at the hospital.
Right.
And from the hospital, he went to the motel.
Right. So, but then he does, after time, she's not answering, he does, I think she calls him.
No, he called. Oh, no, yeah. He calls.
Yeah, and she's not answering, and then she ends up calling him. So then he goes over there, and, they share a moment.
Yeah, they share a moment.
And kiss, and then it's like, no, I can't do this. No,
this isn't right.
And so, like, that kind of gets resolved. And then the daughter,
Clarice, the pastor speaks. Pastor speaks to Clarice after the funeral.
I was going to say, was it after the funeral? Because I didn't remember.
It was after the funeral because she's stuck. Like, she's literally stuck because she was at the back of the funeral. Dave is in the front.
Yeah.
With the homeboys and then with his homeboys who are
Why
closest.
is she at the back?
And she at the back, feeling guilty. Because she approached this woman going hard in the paint. You stay away from my husband. And the girl was like,
you're looking for someone to blame.
Looking for someone to blame.
Leave your house.
You didn't have to leave your front door to find someone to blame. And so I tell you right now. And so whatever. So she at the back feeling guilty for that, and because of what's going on, because she found out her husband emotionally is no longer connected to her. And so he's in the front, she's in the back, she's just stuck. Literally stuck. And the pastor comes over.
He talks to her.
He says it's so sweet, so nice. He does. He's like, remember I told you about the three, I think he brought up the 3-course strand. Has God been in your relationship? Yes, okay, cry, okay, you didn't tell me the truth. Next thing is, your mother, such a sweet, sweet woman, good woman.
That part, I did laugh.
That was cold.
It was
such a sweet woman. But the problem is that you listen to her in matters of your marriage. I think that's what he says.
Yeah.
Something to that extent.
You listen to her, and then it goes far enough to say that, like, she's gonna she'll end up
being
where her mother is,
which is if you keep listening to her.
Husbandless, pretty much, single, bitter, all of those things.
So in that moment, that conversation, and in her own thoughts, I think she came to the realization of what her actions and what they have caused, what her part in that entire situation is, and how she contributed to nurturing the separation, the emotional separation between the two of them.
Right.
So she goes and talks to her mama.
They have a heart-to-heart. She gains understanding as to why her mom is the way she is, and then realizes that that is not her situation nor her burden to carry.
No.
And that she needs to, as she said, go get her man.
Yeah, and that she doesn't have to be the way that she is, the way her mother is. She doesn't have to be that way. That she can make a decision herself and actually do better do better, experience more than what her mother has.
Stop.
Why are you stopping it?
It's blurry.
You stopped the recording?
I'm trying to. It's not working.
Oh crap. By the way, this is going quite long.
No, it's not. It's 39 minutes.
Oh, it felt like it was taking a long time. Is it still recording?
Yes.
Okay.
You need to stop it, Elon. Dang it.
All right,
What was
that's
that
okay.
saying?
Realizes goes.
She realizes that she doesn't have to live. She doesn't have to mirror her mother's life
Right.
and end up having that type of animosity, that desire to not be able to forgive and to understand and to express, learn more about love.
Right, because I didn't say her mom has a reason for them not being separated. And it's
Yeah,
because he
it's
was getting her.
justified.
It makes sense. But she held on to that negativity so much so that it caused her to become bitter. And she's pushing that onto her or projecting that onto her daughter.
And the
And
way that
so-
she raised her, which is why she made the comment, I don't even know how to love.
Right.
But I want to learn how to love because I know I have a good man.
And so, they have that heart to heart. They have some adult time.
They have that, what?
Clarice goes to date
That
at the
you didn't
motel.
say that because we was talking
Oh, I
about
thought
mama.
you. Well, they did have heart to heart, but I thought you talked. Well, they also had adult time too, because she told her daughter about her father, which most
Yeah.
people don't hear those types of things.
No.
But so after that,
She-
Clarice tells her mom, like, I'm gonna need you to be
out.
out the house. She's like, I'll be gone by the time you get back. Which I was like, she must not have
And
moved to
I
Boston.
pray for you because she just feels that her daughter gonna end up like she,
Right.
because she ain't listening. So she goes to the hotel. She knocks on the door. She comes in. She brought her some food.
Right.
And she said what it is that she needed to say, which is being honest, open, and transparent. And he sat there and listened, told her to come sit right here, and then that's all she wrote.
Yes. That's when the
Because that's
adult
what,
time came in.
yeah, because now he feels that she's opened the door and is willing to walk through it with him, sharing all of that intimate information and knowledge and strengthening their connection. And of course, the re-emergence of God in their relationship.
Right. So, end of the story. She ends up pregnant. They're gonna have a baby. He's happy.
He's happy.
They're moving on. They're moving up. They're
moving
doing
on
better.
and moving up. So I think the overall gist of this great story.
Gist?
Yeah, just.
No, gist.
Oh, gist. Whatever.
Just is.
Just
Just because.
jive, turkey. It doesn't matter.
Jive turkey.
Just the overall, I think, lesson for me in this movie is the number one, the importance of God in the relationship. Because when you stop paying attention to Him, it's easy for your eyes to be deterred and start looking elsewhere.
Other places.
Because if you're honoring God and you're doing what God wants you to do, that means you're doing the same to your spouse. Because He tells you how to treat, He tells you how the marriage is supposed to flow. Of course, you find what works in accordance to your personalities as husband and wife. But if you're honoring Him, then you're honoring your marriage, you're honoring your wife. So you stay focused and attentive at that. And I think when you turn your head, that happens. And then communication, the importance of intimate communication. Getting, not just saying, hey, how was your day? It was a great day. No, it was a great day because of X, Y, and Z. But at this point, I felt this way because of what happened at work, or what happened when you said this, or your little, what I'm telling you about my day made me feel like you wasn't listening, that you didn't
Communication. Got it.
Yes. So that intimate communication, I think, is another pivotal and very important thing, because then you can address the financial stuff. You can address what's going on with your growing business, realizing what our current situation is and how we got to operate in that situation so we can grow out of it. not go out of it, and then we have to find a way to get out or work even extra harder, which invokes stress.
Right.
And I think that was another factor in here, is that all of those things provided stress.
Stress, right.
And then here comes the anger and all that other stuff.
So I understand why it's called Not Easily Broken, because in all of that, they still emerged together.
Mm-hmm.
They were not easily broken by the financial difficulties, the mother-in-law difficulties, the we don't see eye to eye about kid difficulties, the other lady but not really difficulties, the kids because I'm jealous that you spend your time with them, but it's because we don't have a child of our own, difficult, like, you know, all of those things. But they still managed to be able to stay together and work through it. And it was only because of that third string of the chord, having God. Because what? Life without God sucks.
Yes.
As do marriages. Well, excuse me.
What?
Well,
What did I do, guys?
no, I mean,
Help me.
not all marriages without God suck. However, I do think that they could be easier with him, seeing as how he is the creator and he knows how they're supposed to go. But I don't know. What, you want to edit that out?
It's in there. We don't edit.
But
We
life
stay
without
beside
God
it,
sucks.
regardless. But yeah,
So-
so I think their marriage was, since you want to tag in your shirt, their marriage was reborn
Copycat.
and new life was planted, brought into their relationship. So I think
So where do
was-
you see similarities? Do you, I guess I should say, do you see similarities? Absolutely not a real estate agent.
neither am I. Neither am I. The similarities would be the athletic, me and him in athletics, an injury to the knee ended it. I wouldn't say mine was, actually no, yeah, it ended it because I still got to get surgery on this other knee, just not time yet. So that, and having to redirect and find something new, and then being settled in what that is, knowing what it is that you're trying to do, grow from it, and because your desire is still connected to whatever your sport is, he found an outlet to coach kids and try to put them in a better position to be prepared. Because it wasn't just all about sports; it was also about being a great man, having some character, integrity, and being educated too. So you gotta have a fallback on. So I find similarities in that aspect. Sports, having the injury, redirect. Now my stuff is more about teaching, about what my secondary love is, which is numbers, and how to use that to help elevate someone's life.
What's your primary love?
It was basketball. I'm just talking with him.
So which number am I?
You're number one, but we're talking about
You just
this.
said.
We're talking about this in particular. His mind was sports, yay! And she's here supporting me. Love you. We're gonna be wealthy, have all the greatest things because you're here by my side. So then it's just like, okay, boom. And that, I think that ties into Not Easily Broken too, because you lost something.
Important.
Something that was important to you. It didn't break you. You just transitioned, and you still stayed committed to your responsibilities, to the person that you've given your heart to, that you care for, even through all of that. So I would say that's where the similarities come in with us, because we've gone through some situations that could cause things to have broken.
Some.
A few. Couple of 3, 4.
Several.
9, 10,
Several.
20.
Multiple. But
But
there's
yes.
been some.
So, but not broken though. So I think that what comes into that, if for their what am I trying to say? To ensure that the break doesn't happen, that's where the compassion and forgiveness and grace and mercy, all of that stuff comes into play, because God is in this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what would Jesus do? What does his scripture say? What is his rules and regulations on how to handle situations? It all comes to communication. So I think that we've had our struggles and we worked through them. So I find the similarity there. The money stuff, now the kid stuff, we have 3 working, we have 3.
We're working through that
Yes.
one too.
My attention, that's the other thing. My attention to work was a distraction from family and marriage. It could be seen that way, even with Dave. His attention to the kids and her screaming, "You're not at home spending time with us."
Me.
Sorry. Spending time with me. The mama was in there, so I'm sorry. I said us. Spending time with me, that's a cry out to, I want to have some more intimate one-on-one time with you also. Because I was at the beginning of it, well, I gotta go, with the boys. Well, you done messed up late night fun. So it's just like
Saturday fun.
You gotta prioritize, and that's why God and her and then everything else. So I think that's where we're similar. What about you?
What about me?
Similarities.
Similarities to me would be the overall picture of having obstacles, transitions. That is a similarity, but I mean, most people have those things.
Everybody has those things. Everyone has life transitions.
They do. I mean, they may not be as substantial.
They're not all weighted the same.
Right. That's why I said they may not be as substantial. They may not be, difficult tests, that you have to, or trials that you go through, but everyone does have life transitions. So, I mean, ours was, we had a number of those. We did have a number of those.
With the audience, you guys know, if you've been with us, I don't know what episode this is, might be 50 or 49, whatever, but you know.
Right, it's in there. You can just scroll back.
Mm-hmm.
But, so I think those are that particular large category of life transitions. Let's see, what else?
That's it?
No, I mean, I was gonna say there could have been, but it was in a different, aspect. Not so much person whispering in, like, my mom talking to me. So I don't know if that would really count. That was just, I guess that would just be considered
Does
a
it
transition.
count?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it didn't have.
Did it lead you to feel a certain way, or weary, or more cognizant, or cautious of certain attitudes?
It led me to feel very irritated. Very irritated towards the individual and yourself, because you never seem to hear. Ever. Like, you were standing right next to me. I didn't hear.
I didn't hear it. What?
So, but no, just having particular family members, I guess, commenting or stating, like, more so things that would be considered like a turnoff or negative, but because you and I have had so many conversations, including how family members will react to our relationship growing more serious up and, through the marriage and everything.
And how they can be and things that they say or could say.
So, like, I was already pre-prepared, but it was still very irritating, like I said, for them to behave that way, because, they're grown, or at least I would say that they're grown. And then the fact that you never, like, you were there but never heard, experienced, saw, witnessed, just no. So that was irritating. But so I'm like it's not exactly the same as what Clarice and her mom were experiencing,
it's still
but it was
whispers.
still the extra chitter chatter outside of the two of us, our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that actually, the children thing would be a similarity, and then
How soon?
well, whether or not to increase or not, because we already have children.
Yes,
but
because
I'm saying
I was
that's-
more so I got one of each, so I'm good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that, like I said, that would be a similarity.
But did we not grow from that?
Yes, we're talking about the similarities,
Okay,
are we
I
not?
just want to make sure. Make sure we're on the same page.
So that, and then I think that is it. Because, like I said, you already brought up your focus with work.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
So what-
an inability to communicate effectively. That is also a similarity. Like her saying,
Yeah, you struggle sometimes with that. I couldn't even keep a straight face. I tried and failed at the start.
so her yelling at him about "you're always with the boys," when she could have just said, I would like for us to have more time together, and then them actually sit down and try and figure something out. You also, we also struggle with the ability to communicate those particular things.
Why do you feel the need to correct it?
Because
We're not the same person.
we are not the same
Just
person.
because it's supposed to be one flesh, that don't mean we have one mind.
Well, that's because every time I'm not exempt. There are times, although far and few in between, but there are times where I do not
You do? I don't remember any of them.
communicate as effective. That's because I always figure it out myself and then go back and correct myself. It's not something that damages or hurts you and then you're like, well, why didn't you just say? Because I already do it. So that's probably why you don't. But yes, like the whole thing at the apartment with the trying the seltzer water thing.
Oh,
Yeah, so that for us,
that stuff is disgusting.
it is.
But I'm getting better with it.
Yeah, it's like I'm saying that for us,
Takes
that was
time.
that was a very positive example. I mean, it didn't start off the best.
No.
Just try it. No. Just try it. No. Just try it. No. I already had it. No. I am not trying it. No. And then it's like, okay,
But that, I would
attitude.
say that's a positive thing because I don't know how old they are. They got to be beyond their 30s in the movie, as far as their age. So
I don't know. She might be like 36.
I'm just saying, but that's just proof that people overcome things in their own time.
Well, of course, that of natural.
Because at that age, she's now, I gotta communicate better. I gotta love better. I need to get more
Right.
in tune with me and figure that out. And I'm grateful and blessed to have a husband who has been there all of this time when I didn't know.
Right.
Now that I'm getting to that, now I have support to help me continue on. So
And that's another similarity
that
we
I
have.
was saying similarity. I have the support to help me get through.
Yes. So
The main one that counts, at least. Yeah.
good job. I don't know. It was just I know I know I have watched the movie before, but of course, being not in a relationship, especially a marriage, and then watching the movie, kind of like, oh, that was cute. And then, of course, being in a marriage, being in a long-standing relationship, leading into marriage, and then
All those transitions.
Yeah, it's
so
like,
what's your final comment on this review?
I like the movie. I think it's best served for those who are headed into a like a proposal, like someone who is has been in or is heading into a long-standing committed relationship or is in marriage. Not so much, when I watched it and I had none of the things. Because, it doesn't really, like, there's no real understanding or impact as to what's going on.
Well, it depends on how you walk into it. If you're walking into educational purpose, what could happen and how people overcome, you can look at it from that standpoint. But I think it's a great movie for you guys to watch.
Yes.
To learn from, to see the power of grace, of compassion, of commitment, of forgiveness, and just staying true to yourself and true to the vows that you made, because things are only easily broken if you allow them to be. If you allow them to be and just throw in the towel and the fight is done, then it can easily get broken. But if you really connected and care about somebody, you're not just gonna let it die. You're gonna do what you've gotta do to make sure that relationship stays intact, that marriage stays intact, that work relationship stays intact, business relationship, whatever it may be.
Right.
You put in that effort, because things can only break if you let them. So that's my final bit of tea for you today.
Thank you all so much for watching the video.
Yeah, watching the video.
Watching the video. We
Make sure.
Appreciate you guys watching.
You just said that.
I said thank you for watching, and I'm telling them that we appreciate that they are watching.
Oh, that they are watching. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. It's encouragement to keep going.
Yes. Like, share, subscribe, definitely comment. Send emails with any and all questions if you want to be on the podcast as well.
Don't be shy. Say whatever you gotta say with your chest. Right there on the Facebook, on the YouTube. Say what you gotta say. We don't care.
Yep.
Hit us up in the email. You want to challenge us? We won't see it as a challenge. Come on the podcast, sit right next to us. We'll chop it up. We ain't experts. We don't know everything.
Absolutely not.
We're here to learn, which is why those comments are so important.
I mean, I literally just said that all other marriages that don't have God suck, which that's not what I meant. So we're definitely not experts, because that is not the truth. And I know that because I know marriages that don't involve God, and they are amazing. So not experts, not professional. Or professionals when it comes to this. Yeah.
We just talk about blended families and what we're overcoming, what we're learning, and we want to keep on learning. So we need experienced people to come on and teach us some things, or comment and share, subscribe, so other people can see, so we can have even more comments and gain more knowledge, because knowledge is power.
Yes.
But we love you guys, the village, you guys' support. We appreciate those who watch. Even if there's only 5 views, we appreciate those 5.
We do.
But those 5, do not be afraid to comment, because we want to learn. And you can join the Patreon as well. Our village has already watched this episode way early before it gets released. And we're learning from them with their comments, and some of them have our number and text us. So we appreciate each and every one of you guys. Just head over to patreon.com/QFlow Studios to get that early access to the video.
See ya!